expecting a baby this week at all?
No, not that I know of.
It's a pretty easy.
Our player welfare guy, Andrew Krause, said there's about a 1% chance that Joey will miss a game. It's amazing how 1% gets up. It always happens, doesn't it?
Footy's all about 1%.
Yeah.
Is it
No.
fair to assume that Joe and Oscar just got back in?
Oh, no, it's not an easy decision because the boys that came in last week, Tom Fullerton and Darcy Fort played particularly well. So we're still talking about that. We don't have to put our team into tonight. So you know how I answer that question. So. It's my standard answer. Well, you know. Yeah, no, seriously, it is a bit of a debate because those lads were great last week and, you know, all credit to them. They played their roles really well.
Mate, since that round 23 game against Melbourne, you have been forced to make a few changes because of suspensions and Joe, and there's been a few, but you've also chosen to make a few changes with players that you've dropped. You've generally been a very loyal guy that's stuck with primarily the same team over a long time. What's given you has it been belief or the impetus to want to make changes in this final series that have obviously proved so successful?
Yeah, look, I think the season as a whole gives you a bit of feedback on your team and, you know, what gets exploited and what doesn't. And you know, we've obviously playing finals, on one final at the MCG, and another one this week. Probably the ability to run is probably something that we've put a high priority on, and so based a bit more of selection around that.
How difficult was that when you've, you know, when you have been so loyal to players and stuck with a model for quite a while to say, come finals time, right, this is what we've learned, this is what we believe, and we're going to change it? Very
difficult because those guys have been so good and I am loyal, so pretty hard. But at the end of the day, you've got to make the right calls to put the best team out there that you think gives you the best chance to win. So at the end of the day, my job as coach and our job as a match committee is to do that, and so that's what we've done.
The manner of that loss to Melbourne almost make it easier to arrive at that point because it sort of served as a moment.
Yeah, probably, but probably some of our losses during the year, we sort of got that feedback on our team. So that was probably, you know, the final bit of evidence that we needed.
What makes prelims so hard to win?
What makes what?
What makes prelims so hard to win?
Because the grand final's the prize. That's the thing. It's almost the biggest game because everyone knows that. The key to it is not to get caught up in thinking about the grand final. The key is just to, you know, play every minute of a prelim final like it's the last minute you're going to play. So that's been the message this week.
What you're seeing from the team, you know, just mentioned this results, and we heard a really interesting response from Dan the other day about the irony of you played the Cats 2 years ago in a prelim, and there was such a different mentality around it coming off. You said the euphoria of coming off this breakthrough win against Richmond, he felt, in hindsight, they felt almost unprepared of what it takes to win a prelim because they were so buzzing from that win against Richmond. Do you see something so much different in this group heading into this one? Obviously, the growth is immense.
Yeah, I think losing a prelim final a few years ago does teach you a few lessons. Maybe because it was the first prelim we'd been in, the players did get caught up in thinking about the grand final, maybe. Or they didn't appreciate fully the opportunity that they had, that they were so close. So they've talked about that a little bit this week, about almost that they took it a little bit for granted. Not the win, but just we're in a prelim, you know, the next step. Maybe it's a little bit easier than you think, but I think they appreciate now that these prelim finals are hard to get to. So what you've got to try and do is when you get to them is make the most of the opportunity. That doesn't guarantee you that you're going to win, but I think the mindset's certainly different this time around. They won't be assuming that preliminary finals are going to turn up every year and you're going to get the opportunity to play them. You've got to take your opportunity when they come.
We know the situation you're in, and you can't change it with it being win, sudden death, week in, week out. You battle hard and your finals hard. But Geelong, one game in 26 days. If it's down to the death, you guys have that finals experience. It's a situation that they haven't played much football in the last month.
Yeah, I guess so. Melbourne were able to do it last year, though, weren't they? They won the flag off the back of not playing a lot of football during September. So I think probably as teams, as this has become more the norm, I think it's been the case for about 4 or 5 years now that's the way the finals have run. I'm sure clubs and teams are working on ways to mitigate the fact that you haven't played a lot of footy over the course of a month, and that would be the way that they train and the way that they do their meetings and all those sorts of things. So the longer it goes, probably the better teams will get it having that bye. I certainly am happy for us though that we are match hardened, that we've had our week off and we've had 2 really hard finals games to prepare us. I think that's been the best way for us to go, certainly, and I'm happy that we've arrived at this point in time. With a pretty fit group and a confident group after having won a couple of finals.
Chris, you spoke before how much you admire the Cats, the way they're always there to sort of consistency. You guys have been there 4 years on the trot now. What do you learn from have you learned anything from them as to how to be so there all the time, consistent?
I'd probably not so much the Cats. It's probably more just that's what you set out to do as a club. You set out to try and play finals every year to give yourself a chance to win one, because they're hard to win. So if you just keep knocking at the door, at some point in time you might walk through it. And that's sort of our approach. You've got to be in it to win it, and the more often you can get there, the better. And a lot of the successful teams over the last few years, they've been able to do that. So it's not just Geelong we've modelled ourselves on, but a whole host of clubs. My old club Hawthorn, we just kept turning up, and eventually you get the chance to salute. Maybe you never can be sure, but you're better off to be there and giving yourself a chance, which I'm proud of our club that we've been able to do that 4 years in a row now off 10 years of no opportunity. So it's it's a good spot to be in.
Chris, what have you made of performances of Dane the last couple of weeks? Because he was obviously coming under some pretty heavy fire following round 23, and some people were saying he should give up the captaincy. The last 2 weeks he's led superbly.
Yeah. You live and you learn. It's probably helps us to really focus, I reckon, on what needs to be focused on. We chatted after that game and we talked about the opportunity that the first final against Richmond would present, not just the team but him as a leader, because it's how you respond to things that happen to you that decide what sort of a leader you are. And I think he recognised that and was able to play well against Richmond and came out with the same approach last week against Melbourne. So, all the experiences that you have in your life, you try and learn from them. And it's great leadership by him that he learned, and hopefully he can apply the same principles to the way he goes about the game tomorrow night, which I'm sure he will.
Does he seem more focused? Might be the wrong word, because I'm sure he's always focused, but he doesn't quite seem as sort of jovial or jokey around us, and then when we see him on the field, he seems very, very locked in and not being caught up in any niggle or the other stuff that he can get.
I've probably just got a point to prove. To some degree, he was pretty harshly treated, I reckon, after round 23, because as we know, there was 2 sides to that story, and his reaction to some degree was understandable. His words unacceptable, but his reaction understandable. I think he's just wants to knuckle down and let his footy do the talking.
Fags, Hodgie was pretty critical, and then came out last week and said that Zorko's performance was one of the best he'd seen by a skipper in quite some time. Were you surprised by the level that he bounced back? How do you rate his performance last week?
Well, his performance over the 2 weeks. No, I'm not surprised. He's an elite competitor and a proud man, and he's in his 30s now, and he probably hasn't got that many more years to play, and he probably wants to go out, whenever he does go out, on a really good note, with people remembering the good things about him. So no, it doesn't surprise me how he bounced back.
Bruce, can I just ask about Buckingham's form? Do you reckon it's the best he's played as a Lion?
Yeah, well, 2019 was a pretty special year. 20? 20. How am I going? I got the years mixed up. 2020 were fantastic. Last year was a lot of injury. Yeah, look, probably has played better because he gets more attention now than he did 2 years ago. So he's got to play at a high level with often an opposition player sweating on him. So no, he's been great, and it's no surprise given the pre-season that he had. He turned up in great shape, and he's got the reward for that.
Some of the things he's done on the field the last few weeks have just been what does that do to the team? Does it kind of give him invincibility?
Yeah, no, his actions inspire, as did many of our players last week. Some of the things that were done on the field, they all giving each other a bit of a lift at the moment.
The Cats' face, just some words on them.
Oh, well, they've been the best team in the home and away series by a fair way. They only dropped a handful of games. What have they won? 13 on the trot or something like that. So 14. Sorry, I didn't mean to rob them of one win. 14 on the trot. So it takes an exceptional team to do that in this competition because it's hard to win every week, let alone 14 in a row. So we're under no illusions of how hard the task is going to be tomorrow night. But the task against Richmond was supposed to be insurmountable, and the task against Melbourne was supposed to be insurmountable. So we start the game tomorrow night with a 50-50 chance, and as long as our attitude and effort's similar to what it has been over the last few weeks, we'll be highly competitive.
Is Geelong one of the most hated teams? Like, there's a rivalry really building between Lions and Geelong.
Is there?
Oh, yeah. Like,
You seem to be the one that's
hated.
hated.
You hate them, or just like them with a passion?
No, I actually respect them, to be honest, as a club and a team. I think they're the benchmark for all clubs in their consistency of their performances. I guess why we've become rivals is because we're sort of both at the same point. We're chasing the same thing as a football club, and they've played in a lot of finals over the last few years and haven't been able to win a flag, and so have we. So the stakes are high, and it's nothing to do with whether we like each other or not. It's what we're after. Nerves? No. I've been around footy for a long time, and I've been involved in a lot of finals.
You sleep well?
I'll be, not for long, probably tonight, but, that's just normal.
That's all right.
All good?
Sorry.
Good luck.
No worries.